What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Have More Than Money. We are back with another successful student interview. Today, we got the one and only Alex Julius. Alex, thank you for joining us today.
Yo, man, thank you for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate it. It's going to be really
good.
Of
course, man. The pleasure is ours. We are so stoked for you to just drop the jewels. That's all you know how to do is drop the jewel for the people. So Alex, why don't you just start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how old you are, and of course what kind of success you've been seeing up to this point.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 28, grew up skinny and then I got into bodybuilding. Honestly, from there it really changed my life. From there, I got the self-esteem to go pursue hard in college. And, I knew I wanted to be involved in something physical. So I ended up in physical therapy, going for that. Ended up changing my mind, switching to PA, ended up becoming a PA, ended up working in that for 6 months during the pandemic. And then I ended up quitting to actually start this dropshipping business. And super cool
now,
to be the position I'm in now.
Why don't we backtrack a second first, Alex? Obviously, you just summed up 26 years in about 30 seconds, but
Yeah, I didn't know where to start.
Let's talk about the fact that you said you became a PA, right? Now,
yeah.
For those that don't know, PA is not something you could just go to college. Like, you have to actually go to college and then extended school after, right? So how many years of schooling did you go to for PA?
So undergrad, I crammed it into 3 years, and then PA school was another 2 years.
Okay.
But I took a year break in between because I got into PT, into physical therapy. And then during that summer, I was like, yo, hold up, peace out. I'm just going to go do PA instead.
Now I know there's...
Yeah.
Now I know there's something that usually affects people's lives when they do all that schooling, and that's student loans, right? So,
yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, about how much of student loans did you incur?
So I didn't get any from undergrad because I was working. I was able to pay that off. I was able to get financial aid, but for PA school, I ended up having to take out. Let's just round up and say it was $100K.
Wow.
About,
And you said you worked the job for how long?
6 months.
That's actually insane. So you're telling me you went through 5 to 6 years of schooling and you wound up working for 6 months as a physician's assistant?
Yeah, well, let me give context to that. So up to that point, after I passed my boards, up to that point I was like, yo, I've been focusing on academics so much, and it had become a pattern in my life, right? Like, if I wanted to get better at something, I just had to focus at it. So when it went from like fitness, and then it went into undergrad because I wanted to get straight A's just to see that I could do it. And then so as 2020 began, I was like, I want to become financially literate. And that was just the goal. Like, did I become financially literate? Am I financially literate now? No, but I'm way further than I was. And so I was just like, okay, let's just start reading. So I hit up Jared because, I've known Jared for years. So let me start there. I've known Jared for years. I've saw him try and fail multiple businesses over the years. We'd run into each other maybe like once or twice a year and just catch up. And I remember when he was doing eBay dropshipping, I'd run into him. He'd tell me about it. That's around the time he told me about the law of attraction and the science of getting rich. And, I kid you not, our conversation was literally, it went along lines like this, where he told me about it. Then he told me the overview about it. And then I was like, yo, that's literally what I did in the gym.
Yep.
But like, this is like the actual like way to do it. And then I used that to go be a PA.
I'm sorry. You're saying you used the law of attraction to become a PA?
Yeah, I was telling my classmates about it, and from time to time, and they all thought I was like, like whatever, like it's like positive mental attitude stuff.
Wow.
And,
and
I was like,
so let me ask you a question. What, like, obviously you learned about the law of attraction while you were already in PA school, correct? or had you not started yet?
No, I hadn't started yet. That was the summer that I just decided to make the switch.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. In what ways did the law of attraction help you with your schooling?
It made it bearable. It was such a drag, like almost every day. And I would say undergrad had prepared me enough to know that I know how I study, like my study habits. So I knew the amount of effort I had to put in to get a certain result. And then I would just keep using the law of attraction to kind of make that come true. Like you needed an 80 to pass. Like anything under an 80 was failing. And I didn't care about A's anymore because no one's looking at your grades. So I said, okay, so this is how much effort I have to put in. And I just used the law of attraction to I kept visualizing the scores I wanted to see. Now, did I get those scores? No, not really. But my effort also wasn't reflective of a score like that. But despite that, more often than not, I'd pass the tests.
Yeah. So that's crazy. So that was probably like your first swing at, applying the law of attraction, and for it to kind of come to fruition, for you to get through grad school and actually do it, that must have proven something to you.
It proved one thing, and I said this to my boy Robert, who I went to PA school with. I told him, look, the biggest takeaway that I took away from PA school was if I can spend 2 years doing, stuff that I don't like, then I can definitely put in the grind for e-com for stuff I actually do want.
Okay.
Because I honestly didn't really want to do PA. I wanted to do it, but it was also a means to an end, right? Like the end being financial independence, financial freedom, whatever, just operating within the context of what society tells you to do to get or to lead a fulfilling life.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are there any specific tactics that you used that were law of attraction type tactics to help you succeed? Like, were you visualizing good test grades? Were you, meditating on seeing that passing score? Like, what were you doing to actually help you achieve those results?
So the biggest thing was at that time, was visualization. That was really the key component of it all in PA school, was mainly just the visualization, because my understanding of law of attraction up to that point was mainly just like, okay, it's about visualization. And obviously it's a huge component of it, but it's not the only component. But that was the only one that I was really practicing because you actually gave me the advice. I had reached out to you and I was like, yo, how do I make my visualizations better? And then you had said, dude, include your other senses, include taste, include sound, include touch, and then I was like, oh, okay, game changer. Make it like as real as you can. So I was doing that with PA school. I'd visualize like how I'd feel, the feeling of relief to just see a passing score, and I'd visualize myself like in the hospitals, in the white coat, like doing it, being there, being more jacked than I am at that point in time, like, you know what I mean? Like everything I want, and I would just do that. And I'd have a routine going most mornings. I didn't stick to it 100%, but most of the time, I'd wake up at 5, I'd do my little stretching routine, and then I'd spend maybe 10 minutes. I put a timer on and I'd spend just 10 minutes, throw on a miracle tone and just visualize.
That's awesome.
And when the timer went off, all right, we're done. And then, go to school.
Damn, and that's obviously a powerful lesson for people, especially who have really never practiced the law of attraction. That explanation alone is super, super valuable. But let's continue on the story. So you graduated. Continue.
So 2020, my goal was become financially literate, and so whenever it concerns matters of money, I usually hit up Jared. So I was like, hey, what should I read? I want to get, are there any books that you would recommend for me to read in my position right now? And Jared was like, yeah, dude, read Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And so I read Unshakable by Tony Robbins, and that influenced some of my decisions at work in regards to like retirement funds and stuff like that. Finished that. And then I remember someone had, like, even Jared recommended Rich Dad Poor Dad, but there was also a student during rotations. We got into the conversation of business, and I told her, like, I've always, like, PA is not the end. I want to get into business at some point. And she was like, you should read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that was like maybe a year before I actually got to read it, but I wrote it down and I kept it somewhere. And then I found it again and I was like, oh, okay, great. Let's. So I bought Rich Dad Poor Dad. That just shifted my mindset, complete 180. Like,
in what way? In what ways mainly? Because it's a great book. So what really switched?
And when he started, because he rants about this hard, but he harps on the fact that people trade their time for money. Like it's constantly reiterated. And at a certain point, maybe like halfway through the book, I started getting pissed off. Like, man, I don't want to trade my time for money. I do so much better things with my time because I met the CEO of the hospital that I got hired at. It's like, because, you know, they had all the new hires come in, you meet the CEO and stuff. And so every time I would read this book, and then every time I'd have to go clock back into work, I'd be like, damn, I'm making this dude rich. And I get pissed off. You know, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't even like this job because, like, you know, the work environment was kind of crap and, you know, et cetera. But,
yeah.
So it was a lot of the trade time for money. And essentially from that book, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I definitely want to do what he's talking about because this is way better. And so I was just like, I need a vehicle, and I don't know what could be a vehicle for this because all I know is like wage slave stuff, right? Like trade your time, like get a job, do this. So I reached out to Jared and I was like, yo, how do I get involved with what you do? Because at this point, you know, Jared was just getting started on his social media, on the personal brand. I think it was that point in time. So I was like, because at this point he was posting some of the sales and like he had like a record month. I think he did like a million between all the stores, and I'm just looking at that at my job, dude, and I'm just like, what am I doing, man? And so I reached out to him, and you know, he essentially pointed me in the direction of high ticket dropshipping, and I was just like, okay, cool. But then I noticed I wasn't taking action, right? Like here's PA, here's high ticket dropshipping, here's me in between them both. And I'm just like, all right, well, when I'm not here at the job, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And I just wasn't committing to the e-com stuff hard enough. And essentially I checked out of work a month before I quit because of a lot of it is due to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then realizing that e-com can be the vehicle. And so I just ended up quitting because I wasn't, well, like, let me put it in perspective. I wasn't happy at the job, right? At the career. I was not happy. I had went for all the conventional things that society says that you have to go and get, and it didn't make me happy, right? Like the career, and as soon as I got hired, I'm like, man, I'm not doing this for 40 years. As soon, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm getting out in 10, and then 10 years turned into 6 months.
So you quit after 6 months. When you quit, the time you quitting, did you have like an online store? Did you, like, were you confident that you were going to make this work? Like, or was it just like, I'm going to burn the bridges and I'm going to make this work one way or another?
Essentially, it was, I really, really, really did not like where I was. I was miserable. I'll just be honest. I was completely miserable. So I just said, you know what? It's not worth it. You can't pay me enough to do this, because there's no fulfillment in it. For me, you know what I mean? Like the next person, whatever. But so I essentially was just like, if I burn the bridges, I'm forced to go into e-com. And I trust myself enough to get through it. You know, I trust myself to learn the skill set. And that was essentially it. I was just like, if I burn the bridges, now I have to do it. Now I have to commit. And yeah,
you know,
it was a leap of faith. It was essentially a leap of faith.
You know, there's
about that is the idea that most people who burn the bridges, or, you know, quit their job, they're not quitting a job that, is paying as well as a PA. They're not quitting 6 months after, they just got hired. So, the fact that you were able to make that leap of faith, and, it's one thing to bet in yourself and start a business. It's another thing to bet in yourself and quit your 6-figure paying job and jump into something like e-com.
Well, I can give you context in that because, yes, I was getting a PA salary, right? But my quality of life did not change, right? Because, so for example, I got hired in January. I booked a trip to Miami in February, right? And the pandemic happened and I didn't get to go on this trip, right? So nothing changed. I was making more money, but nothing changed, right? Like I was still going to the gym. I was still seeing my girlfriend. I was still doing X, Y, and Z. And nothing changed. So that's why I said, like, you can't pay me enough to do this, because I'm like, you're going to pay me this much for me to live like this. I'm good. You know what I mean? So that's
about more than money.
I think I think there's
because I think if I would have went on the trip, right? Because this is a cycle that I see in the healthcare profession, right? Or maybe just jobs in general. People get to a point where they hate what they're doing, and then they take a vacation, they de-stress, they come back, and then they build up the suffering again, and then they take another vacation. And I didn't get locked into that cycle, so in a lot of ways, I'm really grateful that the pandemic did happen. I probably wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
I find it funny when I hear your story, because, like, the traditional like way of thinking is that building a business is risky, right? But like when I think in terms of your life and your journey, it's like you spent 5 years of schooling, including undergrad, right? And $100,000 in student loans for you to get to a job, right? So that's one end. And then when you think about the e-commerce perspective, it took you, how long did it take you from the day you started your e-com journey to be making, I know you profited $10,000 last month. So from the day you started, how long did it take you to get to $10,000 profit?
From the day I started?
Yeah.
This is talking about like after I quit, or just after I was just like, yo, I'm gonna do e-com? Just
I'm gonna do e-com, because obviously we know the first few weeks or months you were half-assing, but
months.
How long?
So 10 months.
Okay, so it's just so funny how the traditional method of life will say starting a business is risky, going to school isn't. Meanwhile, one took you 5 years and $100,000. The other one took you 10 months and a few $1,000s. And you're already making more money than you would have at your job, plus double, plus you're not working, you don't hate your life. I would have to say you probably love your life now. And it's just so amazing. And I have to give you credit, Alex, because a lot of people in your position, 27 years old, 5 years worth of schooling, $100,000 in debt. Most people will literally throw in the towel and say, oh, it's too late for me. Maybe I'll do it on my next life, right? Like it was like you literally said, screw this. I'm unhappy. I'm not doing 40 years of this, and quit after 6 months. And for that, I give you, so much credit.
Yo, no, thank you. Thank you a lot. That means a lot, man.
Where did that courage come from, Alex? Like, just everything Jared just explained, it was perfectly said. Where did that courage, where did that faith in yourself and in, I guess, our system that we provide, where did it come from?
Man, dude, a lot of it came from fitness. A lot of it came from working out in the gym. A lot of it came from the last, just years and years. Because, like that, when you go and you push yourself to failure in the gym, everything else outside is a lot easier, especially when you get it out of the way early first, because then you're starting your day in 5th gear. And dude, just over years of that, man, that's a complicated question, man.
It's a loaded question.
Honestly, I don't mean to cut you off, Alex, but I want to almost give my own take on it. Is the fact that you use the law of attraction for the gym, you use the law of attraction to get that PA job. I think that since you had such a understanding of how the law of attraction works, I personally think that's why it was easy for you to quit your job. And that's why Mike and I, we built the mindset course, and we stress everybody puts so much time into the mindset, and if you're someone who's watching this video and has watched, all of Mike and mine videos, you've probably heard us mention the Science Getting Rich a million times. And that's exactly why, is because a guy like you, Alex, and this is just me answering the question for you, I think that you had that courage because of how experienced you were with the law of attraction. You had that feeling that you can accomplish anything, and that's why you didn't care about the risk of all the student loan debt or all the wasted time. You use the law of attraction, and look at you today.
Yo, no, that definitely contributes, man. It's something I would tell my friends in PA. Well, whenever we would like complain about PA school, I'd be like, listen, the time is gonna pass anyway. So we're either gonna have something to show for it at the end of these 2 years, or we're not. So we might as well just grind on. And I just kind of applied the same thing here. I'm like, listen, I want to do this. The time's gonna pass anyway, and I don't like to live in what ifs. So if I think that this is a what if scenario, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, because let's say I didn't do that. And we fast forward a year and I'm still working in the hospital. Dude, I won't be able to live with myself, right? All the regret, you know what I mean? I don't want to live with regret, right? So I'm just like, let me try it. I trust myself. So I don't advise anyone to do this. I also don't advise anyone to quit their job to start an e-com business. I definitely don't. Don't do that unless you really, really trust yourself and really have faith in the process, because, man, it's not a cakewalk, man. It's not a cakewalk.
Well, so let's take this back. So, and first of all, for the record, obviously, I never advised you to quit either. I'm sure you remember that.
No.
But,
Nope.
Let's take this back now. So you quit your job. All right, you decided you're going all in e-com. Now what? Walk us through, how you felt and what you did to, actually make those dreams reality, and also, talk about how long it took and, the whole thing.
Yeah. So obviously, I had to break that news to my parents, right? And in breaking that news to my parents, I'm gonna tell you some very self-destructive things, right? So in breaking that news to my parents, to kind of not like get the blessing, right? I'm like, guys, give me 1 year. 1 year. If I don't see a dime, you can say, ha, told you so. I'll go back and I'll, whatever. But I'm like, but hey, if I'm able to make the same income or better in less than 1 year, I don't want to hear it. Give me the space. Sorry about that. Give me the space to just do this. And they were like, all right, because I told them, I was like, listen, I still have the license, I still have, I'm still credentialed, like whatever, like the certification's good for 10 years, like this is good, like the New York license is good for 2 years, etc. And then as soon as I said that, I was like, in my head, like the next day, I'm like, yo, I might use this as an excuse to not go hard. So I ended up quitting on the worst of terms. I probably can never get hired there again, just because they would probably talk smack about it, because I just left on bad terms. Like when I tell you I burned the bridge, I really burnt the bridge. Like I probably can never use that as a reference, right? I essentially severed all ties to that life, right? I mean, obviously I could go work at a different hospital, etc. But like for this specific one and for getting a reference, it's done, because I left on bad terms. So I almost did that kind of on purpose, just so like there's nothing now. Like I really have to, like, this isn't an option anymore. Not just the field, like that hospital is just not an option anymore. Mm-hmm. And I don't recommend that either if you're gonna quit. Quit on good terms. But
you took burning the bridge to like a whole new level. But
I took because at that point I only knew how to motivate myself with pain. And something I've discovered throughout the e-com process is that it doesn't have to. You can motivate yourself with inspiration, not always desperation. Like I'm used to using desperation as fuel, and something I've learned in the past maybe even like 2-3 months is using inspiration more and more. And I like it more, obviously, but because you don't feel as you're not in that zone of like war mode all the time.
Mm-hmm. I love that you brought that point up, because I was the same way, right? When I first started, I used desperation and paranoia to fuel my success. And I was having this conversation with a friend, and I told him about how paranoia got me to the top. And he's also very successful in a different field. But he said something that really important to me. He said, change your meaning, because as long as you use paranoia as your fuel, it won't matter if you have $10, $100,000, or $10 million, you will stay paranoid. And that's something I've been dealing with personally. So I'm very happy you mentioned it, because even though I'm a lot more successful and a lot more wealthy than I was 3-4 years ago, it's like not only do I still feel just as paranoid, in ways I almost feel more paranoid, because now I actually have something to lose. So I'm very happy that you made that point, because it's so true. You almost do want to change your meaning. You want to change your fuel. So I'm glad that you have that mentality shift of, all right, I don't really need to be desperate anymore. Let me change my mentality. But at the same time, Alex, it is important that, of course, you never take your foot off the pedal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, what's really interesting is that kind of when you put what you guys both said together, it's almost like inspiration probably would not have been enough for you in the beginning, right, Alex? Like inspiration probably would not have made you quit the job, but because you quit, because you made that decision to quit, you were desperate, like you explained. You had to hit the ground running. But I'm so glad now that you get fueled by what is to come in the future, because there's a lot bigger things coming for it. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I think inspiration got the ball rolling, and then desperation just gave me that extra little oomph. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that I don't use desperation anymore. Sorry, my mom's cooking, so it's gonna be beeping. But sorry.
No, you know what?
Were saying,
I was gonna say, you know what? For the sake of this interview, let's just go back, right? So, what month did you quit your job?
June 2020.
Okay, so take us back to June 2020, right? You just quit your job, and now you don't even have an e-commerce business yet at this point, right? Maybe you just bought the course, you're just getting started. So you quit your job. Now what? Tell us your course of action. Tell us what you did. Tell us, everything that happened now from the day you quit till today to get to where you are.
In your answer, Alex, I want to hear the biggest obstacle you faced June 2020 also.
Yeah.
The biggest obstacle I faced June 2020, July 2020, August 2020 was myself. I quit. Like, people think like you burn the boats and then you become successful. Like, no, dude, you burn the boats and then you're like, dude, I gotta work now, or everything is gonna fall to pieces. So that headspace is very draining. So I didn't take as much action as I could have. I didn't develop a sound enough plan. So I was kind of just going through the course, doing some actionable steps, going to the course, doing some actionable steps. Now, all of this could have been streamlined a lot quicker had I just gotten out of my own way, but I also didn't know how to, right? I was just making use of...
In what sense, when you say get out of your own way, you're just saying mentally?
Yeah, dude, because it was a low spot, right? Like, I was doing the course, I was taking action, but I wasn't taking as much action as I know I could have, because I was getting lazy. That's just the honest truth. I was getting lazy. I wasn't as driven as I thought I was. I knew the reality of burning the boats, but I also was letting my foot off the gas here and there. I was also spending a lot of my time with my girlfriend at the time, who actually helped me quit my, actually gave me some good advice, and then ended up quitting my job. And then in August, I finally had the time to really grind hard at it. And then mid-September, we launched the store. And I made a sale within 1 week of running ads. And that was one of the best feelings, one of the best, because actually, no, we launched the store in September. We launched the ads mid-September. And so when that sale came in, I was like, yo, it works. Oh, dude. Then I look back at the last few months and I'm like, yo, all this work was worth it. and then but then it wasn't like I made the first sale and then sales came in. It made the first sale and then I didn't have another sale for a whole month or an entire month. Nothing. If anything, we spent 900 in ads in October and made nothing. And I was just like, dude, what am I doing? So then I just started pivoting niches, and just like a madman calling suppliers. And I mean, it was motivated from a place of desperation, but that guy on the other end of that phone heard confidence. But I just kept calling suppliers. I ended up finally closing a great one, and I ended up being able to launch them towards the end of November, actually just in time for Black Friday. Boomed Black Friday, and then just was optimizing.
Slowly scaling up.
And then from January onwards, it's been like really solid.
Awesome. So I know you kind of mentioned you hit a little bit of a roadblock that first summer of 2020 when you were recently quitted the job, just getting into e-com. It seems like August, September tides changed for you mentally and you were jumping in fully, or was that not even the point? At what point was it like, all right, I got to really kick this into another gear, and you were over that mental obstacle that you faced the first 3 months?
I'll be honest, I don't feel like I really kicked it into gear until the last like 3-4 weeks. So
it was really just consistent action then, it seems like.
Just consistent action. It was if like I was doing something e-com related every day, right? If I was getting on myself for not feeling like I accomplished like as much as I wanted to, or I did accomplish everything I wanted to that day, it's fine. But there was something e-com being done every day. I don't care if it was mindset videos. I don't care if it was going back to the course, rewatching course videos, rewatching ad videos, maybe seeing something I missed, rewatching the ad videos over and over, taking notes. Okay, cool. So I don't have to keep rewatching them. That's when I started taking notes. I was like, okay, cool. Let's take some notes. Boom. Okay. Like something was happening. You know what I mean? I'm making a supplier list. I'm researching, or I'm doing this, or like something was being done. That
right there, Alex, is probably one of the biggest jewels that you mentioned in this entire interview, right? Because so many people, they think that, they see Instagram gurus, Twitter entrepreneurs, whatever it is, and they're like, all right, I got to wake up. I have to read 3 books. I have to take 10 cold showers. I have to make $100,000 by noon, all this stuff, when in reality, it's really as simple as compounded, consistent action.
Yeah. I mean, the funniest part of the reading books part is before, like, let's say like summer 2020 and even fall 2020, I'm like, yo, what books can I read? And it's just all about like, what could I read? And now like the actual stresses of running a business, I don't want to read. I want to read if I know it's going to help me be a better entrepreneur. That's it. If it's not, you know what I mean? So like, I don't want to read like 100 books. I want to read 10 books that I know really well and that really make me great. Like reading, like, for example, like I'll read a chapter of The Science of Getting Rich every single morning. It's part of my morning ritual, without fail, a chapter a day. And
yeah, I mean,
it transfers to the business, because then I'll take that with me for the rest of the day. And I'm like, let's say I read the chapter on gratitude. I make gratitude a daily practice, but let's say I read the chapter on gratitude. Maybe for the rest of the day, I'll just try to be extra grateful. Let's say I read the chapter on efficient action. For the rest of the day, I'll just really, really, really try to dial in on that, like.
No, it's funny. It's funny that you say that, obviously, because, when people say entrepreneurs read a book a day, they're not talking about Harry Potter. But, one thing I did want to say, Alex, is I do remember when you started, obviously we knew each other, but I do remember you started before Mike and I actually dropped the course. And yeah. I'm not going to, we don't need to talk about which course you purchased before ours, but I do want to say that I do remember you saying, so I do remember you bought a different course, and for whatever reason, like, things weren't clicking, so then you ended up buying our course too. Now, again, we're not going to talk about what course that is, but I do remember you were saying that, our videos, made things a lot easier for you than that course. So, I just want to hear, again, like, kind of like what it was about our course that really helped you, reach that next level.
When I had bought your course, I needed more guidance on the ads portion, because by this point, the store was already launched, and I was just getting ready to launch ads, but I felt kind of overwhelmed with the information I had on Google Ads up to that point, because and dude, Mikey, your ads videos are so fire because they're explained very concisely, and the demonstrations in them are really great. But the thing is, it's the actionable steps in the videos that help a lot, because I'll end up watching a video and not feel lost. Like, okay, video's done, read the summary, and then what are the things that we have to do, and then I'll think about it and I'll relate it to what I just watched, and I'm like, okay, that makes way more sense, and it's so much easier to implement a lot of the strategies in your course because it's like that, because it's formatted that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's honestly something that we thought about when we were putting together the course. We're like, how can we make this as efficient as possible? And, for us, I don't know when exactly it clicked that we needed to include those actionable tasks, because, we've all taken a lot of courses in the past, and usually you're just flooded with information, right? So you go through all the material and then you kind of have to start over again. You're like, all right, do I have to rewatch the videos now that I take action? So, I'm glad that you kind of pointed that out. And something else that should be noted from what you said is that, you didn't just purchase one course in high ticket drop shipping. You got at least two that we know of. So it's like, so many people don't want to spend money. They don't want to invest in their education. You were down to do it twice.
Yeah.
Well, the funny part of that was when I bought the first course, I told my friends, like, it was like, I don't know, it was like $1,000 or like something, or like 1,100, whatever it was. And I told my friends, and one of my friends' girlfriends was like, oh, that's a lot. And I never thought of it like that. Well, one, because I was making PA money, so I was like, whatever. But then also because I was like, well, when it makes me $1,000, it paid for itself. And if it makes me $1,000, it can make me $2,000. And if it can make me $2,000, it can make me $4,000. So really, what loss am I taking here?
You had the longer term thinking, right? Most broke people, they're only thinking 1 hour ahead, even if that.
Yeah.
I think it's a true testament to everyone in this video, right? Like, the only reason why Mike and I's course is able to be so concise and to the point is because of all the courses that Mike and I have purchased in the past. Like, obviously, when I recommended dropshipping to you, Alex, we didn't even have a course to teach, and that's part of the reason why Mike and I started our own course, was because so many people saw the success we were having, and it was like we were telling people other people's courses, right? So.
Yeah.
I think it's a real testament to all three of us that, to invest in your own education, it cannot go unnoticed. It's, she was saying your friend was saying $1,000 was a lot, but it's like, I'm assuming she was a PA as well. Whether she was or wasn't, the amount that you invest to go to that school is 100 times, and the risk reward ratio is just not there. And that's why, to me, anyone who says starting a business is risky these days, the only real risk in starting a business is, you might lose some money. But as you mentioned, you had a job. So it was like, the amount of money you might have lost would have been less than half of a month's salary at most, right? So it's like, that's why Mike and I never tell people to quit their jobs, because most jobs will make you so much more than enough to start your own business. And then ideally, your business will replace your job income, and then, you could live the life of your dreams. So again, that really is just a testament to the three of us here, and for everyone watching this, it's, people like us, people that are successful, are people who will invest into their own education without thinking twice.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, this, I think I know why your course is really great. This, I could sum it up really, really easily. From the first course, there's a lot of mental energy involved when you watch a bunch of stuff, and then you have to organize the information in your head yourself. And not only that, you have to then create a plan with that information. That takes a lot of mental energy. And you circumvent that with the videos that you have, because you watch it, you digest the information, and then it's already organized for you, and then a plan is already organized for you. So now, dude, you have so much energy free, just go. Take the action.
Exactly. It's like mental clarity. You know, there's nothing taking up that space.
Yeah. You know, the way I look at it is there's really only one quickest path from A to B, right? So, you know, for me and Mike, when we made the course, we had so many ideas of videos we could have made. And, you know, of course, listen, guys, like, not everyone that takes our course is successful, right? Not every student is happy, but, you know, we had to almost pick and choose our battles because it was like, all right, maybe we should put this video in. But then we were like, you know what? This isn't the most important thing. And of course, Mike and I know there's more information we could have put in the course, but we really wanted to sum it up to only the most important things, right? Like 6% of your tasks lead up to 94% of your results. So when Mike and I came up with the course, we were like, you know what? How can we only include the things that are going to really lead to results? Of course, like I said, there's a lot of little things we didn't include that, you know, some people may complain about, but, you know, we did it the way we did it because we knew there was only one quickest path from A to B, and if you follow this, you will get there.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, I think unfortunately, we've had to fill the gaps because of how many things do come up. But Alex, it's like, I can't even sum it into words. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting off? Because, you know, you came from your story is a little bit different. You know, guys like me and Jared, you know, we started getting interested in entrepreneurship in college, right? So we never really got the chance to go to grad school to get a real job, which, you know, almost sometimes I feel like makes us tough to relate in that sense, where it's like you're like the perfect home run example of someone who lived that life, knew there was more out there for them, and attacked it.
Yeah.
I would say, man, make sure, like, just in general, or somebody like in like the shoes, or like in general. Yeah. So just make sure that this is something that you want to commit to, and commit to it. You know what I mean? Block out time that you're going to do things related to the course, to your business, whatever. But block out the time every day. This isn't like if you're serious about making money online, this isn't like you do it like once every couple days. No, do anything, dude. Watch a video a day, you know, whatever. But block out time and do something e-com related every day, because the consistency is going to compound, and there's nothing better than momentum in this. You know what I mean? Because then it's so much easier to do the rest of the stuff, because it's a lot of grind, man. It's a lot, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you have the course, and the course gives you the roadmap the whole time. So I would just say, decide that you really want to commit to it, and then commit. Block out the time. You don't have to start crazy. Do one thing. Do one e-com related thing a day. Check it off. Feel good about yourself, and then keep, you know, like in the gym, just keep making it harder, or not harder, but keep increasing the challenge over time. And before you know it, you'll have the e-com store. You'll be in a position where you're going to need an employee. You'll hire the employee, and then you'll be in a position where I'm at now, where now it's about growth. Now it's about growing it more and scaling it and really turning it into a full-fledged thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Something that me and Jared, we always say, it's like, you really got to treat your business like your child almost, right? Like, you can't just neglect your business. You know, maybe other businesses, like, I can't even give you an example, but especially a business like high ticket drop shipping, where, you know, as we all know, we're building legitimate businesses here, right? We're securing legitimate relationships with suppliers. We are talking to customers on the phone. In the nature of this business, you have to be paying attention to it. You got to water the seed every single day. Even if you're just doing it a little bit, you know, like you said, consistency will add up.
I'll say this. I'll even give better advice. If you don't feel fulfilled with what you do right now, and a big part of life is feeling fulfilled with what you do, then for me, e-com and having a high ticket dropshipping business was the first time that I gained income from something, and I felt super fulfilled. When you close your first sale over the phone, the way that I felt closing my first sale, I had to price match somebody. I didn't make that much on it, right? But that feeling of closing the sale, that first close, it's like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? You feel so fulfilled, because all the work, anytime something good happens, you're going to think about all the work that you did that got you to this point, and you're going to feel so damn fulfilled, because you're going to say, damn, look, all that stuff I did back then got this sale now, or got this thing now, or gave me a record month now, or, you know, If you have
because
trouble,
you did it, because you did it. Like you said, it's like when you own a business, it all rises and falls on you, right? So you created something out of nothing, and I know that for me that was always the biggest fulfillment, right? Creating nothing out of something, and like you said, when you close that first sale, you're like, oh, holy shit, this works, like, and I did.
I think I think it goes back, one, as Mike mentioned, the fact that you built something out of nothing and people actually paid you for it. Like, they're not paying anyone else. They're paying what you create. Like, if you didn't build it, it wouldn't exist. And the fact that you made it exist and someone paid, that's enough to make you feel fulfilled. Now, I think it also goes back to the law of attraction, right? Like that feeling that you had from that first sale, even though you didn't make that much money off that first sale, what it did is it gave you a taste of success. They say if you want to attract things, give yourself a taste of it. And that's why I love that, you mentioned that you didn't make a lot of money, but that feeling, that winning feeling, it was everything. And guess what happened? The next sale came in, the next sale came in, the next sale came in, and now they come in like clockwork for you. Now, it really is like that with every aspect of life, right? If you want to attract bigger and better things, don't be afraid to invest your money, whether it's into education or just something nice, right? Like, I used to drive a Nissan Sentra, and my lease wasn't even up, but I just said, you know what, I had enough, and decided to trade it in for obviously a Tesla. And since I've gotten the nicer car, it's just that feeling every day. It's gotten to the point where, one, my income has skyrocketed since I've gotten the car, so paying for it has not been a problem. But two, it's that feeling every day, that taste, where now it's become so normal to me, and I know that, if I want to get nicer cars in the future, I'll be able to afford it and I'll be ready. And if I don't, then I don't need to. But it all comes back to that same feeling as you created it, and now, like we said, the sales pretty much come in like clockwork.
Yeah, and I'll say to any of the students in the course that have launched their stores and are in a predicament like me where they made a sale and then nothing, or they're not making sales, dude, keep grinding, because that month of October was probably the hardest. Like because to see one sale and then nothing for a month was incredibly challenging. But all I kept saying to everyone around me was, nah, dude, it worked once, it can work again. And so, yeah.
That's really all it takes.
And then once we got consistent sales, then I was really like, no, I see the power. This is it. Let's do it. Let's like lock in harder. So.
That is so awesome. So, I mean, yeah, we didn't really touch a whole lot about the law of attraction. I know that plays a big part in your journey. I guess that's something that I want to hear a little more about before we end this interview, Alex. So, you talked about it in terms of PA, in terms of going to the gym. Just obviously we in this call know how the law of attraction works. Break it down, like how it impacted you on your e-commerce journey, as simple as you can.
Yeah, I'd say I have whatever knowledge I knew about law of attraction before e-com, like pales in comparison to what I feel like I have learned in the last 6 months, and which only makes me think, 6 months from now, I'm going to feel like I didn't know anything about the law of attraction 6 months ago, because, man, with e-com, it's like you really, really, really have to have faith. Like, you really need to trust in yourself and a higher power, whatever you got to do. You really need to have faith, and you really got to push. Like, like every low moment, I would either try to use it as fuel or try to flip it and be grateful instead. And that's something that I've been dialing down in more in the last month. But essentially it's, dude, low moments, I try to be grateful or use it as fuel. If I can't use it as fuel, I'll try to just take a moment and just be grateful and just flip it. Otherwise, visualization is huge. I'm always looking at videos of what I want, or I'm investing in experiences that I want, or I'm trying to do things that feed the desire. It's like, if I don't constantly keep telling myself what I want, keep looking at it, keep, have goals written down and push myself towards it, if I'm not constantly filling my mind with this desire and really fueling it, it doesn't move me, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's so easy to get distracted by Instagram, social media, etc., TV, Netflix, But if I'm constantly thinking about ecom, or not ecom, but like the larger scale vision over and over and over and over again, it compels me to go and take an action towards that.
I think
so I would say that would be the biggest thing from the law of attraction to take is the visualization, but like to just find whatever way you can to make the vision compelling, so it actually makes you go and move towards it.
I like that you mentioned. I like that you mentioned the idea that. Hold on, I think something's echoing a little bit. I like that you mentioned the idea that. And your mic's muted right now, Alex. I muted it because of the echo. So when you're ready to talk, I'll unmute it. But I like that you mentioned the 6-month thing, because I always tell people that just if you stick with this and if you keep visualizing, you keep working, just imagine where you're gonna be 6 months from today, right? And I love that you were telling yourself. Or I love that you're telling yourself today, if I stick with this, where will I be in 6 months from today? So before we, start to wrap up this interview, I do want to ask a few things, but I also am going to want you to, give a little flash of your phone to the screen with the sales so people can see it. People can see, what we're talking about. But, while you're doing that, I'm going to ask the question, why don't you tell us, at this point, where you are in your journey, what it is, what you have to do next now to scale your business and take your business to the next level, and where do you want to see yourself 6 months from today? I'm unmuting your mic right now, or actually, yeah, unmute yourself if you could. It's not letting me.
Got it.
Perfect.
All right. Sorry, can you say that question one more time? Just
yeah.
Pulling up.
Honestly, just simple. Just kind of like tell us, one, like the struggles you're like. Okay, so obviously now you are a successful e-commerce business owner, a successful dropshipper, right? You can finally put entrepreneur in your bio on Instagram. But the question really is what are the biggest challenges you're dealing with now that you are successful? Because a lot of people don't think about that, right? Like you put in all the work, you finally make the sales, and they think, all right, life's great. So one, tell us about the hurdles you're dealing with, what you're going to have to do to get over those. And then last but not least, where do you want to see yourself 6 months from today?
Gotcha. A lot of the challenges now and for the past maybe like 2 months have been time management. That's the biggest, can't stress it enough. Biggest challenge is time management, because there's a difference between working on the business and working in the business. And so for the past 3-4 months, I've just been working in the business, and it's really, really cut down from the time that I could have spent just working on the business. So I finally hired our first employee. This is her first week, and I've been training her. And so this first day has already been a load off. You know what I mean? Because now, because I'm starting them off on calls. So me not having to take calls today has been huge. I called a supplier for the first time in a while. You know what I mean? I've been doing product research. I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is just phone calls. Like I can't imagine when they're handling the emails and the orders, how much easier it's going to be for me to grow this company. On the flip side, though, now I feel the weight of that responsibility. Now I'm responsible for paying someone, for paying an employee. So if I don't deliver, they don't eat, essentially. So I feel that weight. So what I have to do at this point is essentially train this employee, get the ball rolling on closing more suppliers, getting a product lister hired, because God knows I don't want to do that anymore, and get the ball rolling on the second employee probably a month from now, just to outsource even more. Even though it might be more of an expense, the extra time is priceless, because I can just do so much more to grow the company. More product research, more suppliers closed. So essentially in 6 months from now, man, I want to consistently be hitting 200 to 300K months or better.
And where are we at this month? Why don't you show us where we're at this month?
We are at currently. You're at.
I'll let you know when we can see it. Yeah, click that. Move it back a little bit. Yeah, try to get.
Hold up.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. There
it
is. Almost 100 orders. We're about to break that 100th order of the month. Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's huge.
So,
I know you do a little bit differently, right, Alex? Where we usually say, you want to be closing suppliers. We like selling products $2,000 to $3,000. That's not 100% the case for your store, right?
No, I'm doing more medium ticket products, only because from the first course, their price points were $500 and up. So I was having trouble closing suppliers with higher ticket price points. And truth be told, I was having trouble even just finding good suppliers. So then I ended up just saying, let's just go back to the advice from the first course. Let's just broaden it to 500 and plus instead of like 1,500 plus. And I ended up finding a great product. I ended up finding a great supplier. I ended up in a great niche. And out of that desperation, something good came, I started getting really desperate in October. And, I was just like, you know what? I'm calling anyone and anything. You have MAP, I want it. you make it. Are you selling this product? I want it. So I don't care, and then it ended up paying off. So
I mean, it's funny, like our definition of low ticket is funny than most. Like a lot of people, they're flashing their student sales, their own sales, and $9 sales, $10 sales. So I mean, your average order value was 40,000 at 100 orders. That's still, or like a $400, $450 order value. So, Alex is a little more low ticket than Mike and I typically recommend. We typically recommend $1,000 or more. But guys, $300, $400, $500, that stuff still could work, right? Like he's not selling $20 items. Like we're referring to $400 or $500 items as low ticket. It's still high ticket in the realm of life, guys. So keep that in mind. And of course, he is running Google ads. He's not running Facebook ads whatsoever.
Yeah, these are Google ads, and the truth is, this is just the beginning, right? I can always get the higher price point suppliers down the line. I can always, like you're only one close away. So it's not like you're married to whatever price point you see success in.
100%. There's so many different avenues that you can go down, right?
I mean, you have homeboy in the group chat dropping. I forgot his name, but he'll just casually flex like 100, 200K or like, and I'm just like, man, it's motivation right there. I can't wait to get there. But I'm like, it goes to show, like if I'm making it work with this and he's making it work with that, what's to say we both can't switch roles? He could pick up a medium ticket or a low ticket supplier, scale it up. I can pick up a high ticket supplier, scale it up.
And it's not just one person, I know you said homeboy, but there's definitely a few guys that are dropping some 200, 300, 400K months in our group chat.
I'm talking about. You know who I'm.
So yeah, I mean, Alex, it's been great. Mike, I don't know if there's anything you want to ask, but if not,
Yeah, no, that's all I got. I mean, Alex, I know when I first came across your story and, we met for the first time, I was inspired by the simple fact that you quit your job. So, kudos to you for that, quitting something like that and making a leap of faith. It really does mind blow me. And I really hope and I know that it will inspire a lot of people watching this. So, thank you for your time.
I really hope so. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate all the questions and everything, man. I'm just glad I was able to contribute to the show, So
1,000%. I know you've contributed. You've helped other people in the community group chat as well. So, thank you. And man, we're gonna have you back on hopefully in 6 months. You said you want to be at 200, 300K. So everyone's gonna watch this video, and then when we get to 200K, we'll get you back on.
All right, we're speaking it into existence now on some Conor McGregor stuff. All right.
You don't believe in the law of attraction? Let this be the proof right here. If Alex's story was not enough, you remember this moment right here. But Alex, it was a pleasure. We'll have you back on and keep killing it, brother. We'll talk soon.
Likewise, man. Wish you the best. Thank you.